And just get a thumbs up, you can hear us all. Thank you. As usual with these virtual media conferences, priority will be given to the UK media. Can you make sure you're on mute unless you're asking a question? And we're going to start with Jeremy Langdon at Sky Sports News. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, hi Joe, how are you doing?
I'm very good, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Just on Mo's recall, how much would he improve the balance of the team if he plays on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, that's why he's been called into the squad. He has the capabilities with both bat and ball. He's in, albeit short format, he's in serious form at the minute, playing with great confidence. And we all know what he's capable of in the Test arena. Seen it before, capable of scoring big hundreds, winning the game with the ball as well. And he's a fine cricketer.
He's not played a home Test match in 2 years. Chennai Test was the only game he's played in 2 years. Is that a source of regret to you, Joe?
Say again, sorry.
The fact that he's only played one Test match in 2 years and hasn't played a home Test match since the Ashes of 2019, is that a source of regret to you?
No, I think we try and manage things as best as we can over a period of time. And look, as I say, I've always been a huge fan of Mo. I think he's a wonderful cricketer across the formats. I think he's a great ambassador of the game, and it's great to see him back in the Test arena. It's great to see him back in the Test squad. I thought it was a brilliant performance he put in Chennai, it's a nice to see him back around things. And if he gets an opportunity, I'm sure he'll be desperate to impress and show everyone how good he is in Test cricket as well as white ball cricket.
And are we right to think as well, if he's recalled now, he's going to play?
Well, he's certainly a great contender. I mean, we've not been to the ground yet, so it'd be nice to look at conditions and weigh things up. But he's certainly in a great position to potentially play. Can you
just say if Ollie Pope's fit to play in this match as well yet?
Yeah, I mean, again, it'd be nice to see him get through another fitness test tomorrow. But he should be. That's the plan, is for him to be up and running and ready to go. So again, that gives us another option, another opportunity. To have another player available for selection.
Chris Silverwood was talking up Hasib Hamid yesterday. We all remember his Test debut way back in 2016 in India. You played in that match. I mean, how much has he changed physically? Obviously, he's very different to then. I mean, how would you compare him to then when he made his Test debut?
One thing I'd say about Has is, ever since the first day I met him, I've been extremely impressed of him as a person, as maturity, as a young man then. I think it served him really well throughout a very difficult spell of his career, and now you're seeing him come into some really good form. He looks like his game's grown. You talk about him physically growing. I think his game's grown as well. He's added shots to what is a very strong defence, and has turned himself into a brilliant player. His work ethic is outstanding, and he thinks about the game extremely well. So. It's been great to have him in and around the squad throughout this summer, and if he gets an opportunity, then I'm sure he'll again look to take that with both hands and try and make position his own in this team.
Just finally from me, Joe, the ICC are pushing for cricket at the Olympics in 2028. I just wonder what your reaction is to that, and what you see as an Olympic format for cricket. Could it be the 100? Could it be a T10? I mean, what do you think?
I think it's great. We constantly talk about how we can grow the game. It'd be great to see cricket as an Olympic sport. The 100 seems to fit the bill, doesn't it? I think that would go down really well. But I mean, as I say, it'd be fantastic to get cricket in on that stage, and talk about getting it, reach out to other countries, and what an opportunity it would be.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. We'll go Rory Dollard and then John Etheridge. Go ahead, Rory.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for speaking to us. Looking at what Chris has said about Haas, and obviously calling up Mo today, Ollie Pope fitness, you've talked about all those things already, but I just wonder, in terms of your 11, whether you're minded to keep the changes to a minimum, because obviously looking at the 18-man squad you've got there now, actually quite a lot of options and the potential for multiple changes. Do you think that could destabilise the team, or over the last year have you got used to leading out a different team almost every time?
As you mentioned, I think that COVID has had quite an effect in terms of consistency of backing up teams, whether that be through workload, through having to rotate players, or through fitting the conditions. It's been a tricky thing to get continuity in that respect. But you've got to look to win the next game, and you've got to try and pick the team that you feel is going to go out there and give you the best chance to do that. So I think that's the most important thing. That's the thing that sticks in the front of my mind. And it's be the thing that I'll try and consider first and foremost when over the next couple of days going into Thursday.
I just wonder, with the squad sort of ticking up to 18 now, might you take a call tomorrow or after practice today whereby you maybe let a couple of guys get back and get some cricket in? Because, if the bubble's not quite as tight as it was, you don't want to be, I suppose, carrying too many guys who aren't in the frame for Thursday. Yeah,
it's not something that we've discussed as yet, but of course, if we can get guys playing cricket, then absolutely. I think every player throughout the last year and a half has found it very difficult to be with. When you're not playing and you're in and around a squad, it's hard anyway. But when there are opportunities to go and play, you want to go and take them. And I think where that's possible, we'll look to do it. But it's tricky with you're looking at concussion replacements, COVID replacements. You've got to have guys in and around the squad that you can fit like for like. It does make it quite tricky, but where possible, if we can, then I'm sure Silvers would agree with me that it was certainly something we look to do.
Yes.
Okay, John Etheridge and then John Norman.
Joe, probably a question along similar lines. If Moeen plays as part of a 5-man attack, then you obviously have to drop a batsman. If Bovis comes back, that's 2 batsmen. If Hamid plays, that's 3 batsmen. So potentially some changes to the batting lineup. Would that be fair to say?
Potentially, yeah. There's a lot of options that we can go with currently, and I think that's a nice thing about bringing Mo into the squad. And it gives us a number of different ways in which we can go, and in ways we can balance the team out. So it'll all be taken into consideration. As I say, we'll try and pick the side that we think is best going to win in the next, in the conditions that we get.
And a couple of you might be able to confirm now. Will you definitely bat 4, and will Josh definitely play as wicketkeeper?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Okay, and just finally, if I may, Chris Silverwood yesterday sort of hinted that he was sort of running out of patience with some of the batsmen in whom England have invested a couple of years' work and support. Is that your feeling as well? You really are expecting these guys to start scoring runs sooner rather than later?
I think running out of patience is not the right word. I think as a squad, we're all desperate to see each other succeed, and you see the guys put the work in time and time again. One thing you can never question about anyone in this team is their work ethic. I think everyone throws everything into the practice, does everything they can to make themselves better. Of course, you want to see that materialise into results on the field, and it can be quite tough at the top end of your sport. And if that doesn't happen to a certain point, then we might have to look at making changes. But at the same time, as a team, you want to try and give as much as you can, and to help guys turn the corner. And whether that's spreading experience or advice or things that have worked for you, then it's on all of us really to keep helping improve each and every one of us.
Okay, John Norman, then Nick Holt, please.
Hey, Joe. Just wondering if you could explain the process as much as anything, but as was made mention, Mo hasn't played a home test in quite some time. So in essence, what has changed from this time last week when he wasn't in the squad to today when he is?
Well, I think when we first initially picked the squad, obviously Ben was in that. We also looked at where we thought Chris Woakes was at in terms of coming back from his injury, and we thought that he'd be up and running and available coming into this game, and that's not quite materialised. Looking at Mo and how he's playing and what he's capable of doing and how he can balance out the side, it seems like a very sensible way of managing that. Yes, he's not played a lot, but he has got bags of experience, and I think that holds a lot of weight in the situation, the times we're in right now.
Following your player of the match exploits in the first Test match, I saw that Ben Stokes tweeted a caption of you gesturing to your family and to the crowd. I was just wondering if you've spoken to him since you scored that 100.
I've not managed to speak to him. I think Ben, wants some privacy. He wants to get away from things, and that's absolutely fine. He knows that I'm there for him, and I know. Like he made very clear that he's always got my back and he's always there for me too. And that understanding, it's always nice to know you've got that between. Whether you look at it as a vice captain, I see it as one of my best mates. But it's hopefully he's starting to feel get back to where he wants to get to. And he, as I say, he knows that I'm right there behind him. Any way possible and any way he wants me.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, we'll go Nick.
Hi, Joe. If Mo plays, he'll be another one who hasn't played a red ball since February, and obviously he was smacking it around in the 100 last night. I mean, how difficult is it to make that transition? And as England Test captain, would you like to see a bit more support and a bit more help from the schedule so guys can play a bit more red ball cricket before a big Test series?
That's where experience you've got to call upon your experiences when you come into series with that much cricket behind you. And he's certainly got that in bagfuls. As a couple of us have, it can be quite tricky sometimes. You want that cricket behind you. As players, we just got to manage the times that we're in and the schedule and as it is. Yes, would like to see red ball cricket alongside Test cricket, but as it is, it's difficult to do, and we've just got to try and adapt as best as we can.
Okay, let's go to Ali and then Dean.
Hi, Joe. We obviously know that Moeen's Test career has been there's been some huge highs along the way. There's been some tough times as well. What have you learned about captaining him during this time, and what's your message going to be to him going into this Test match?
To go out there and be Moeen Ali. He is, like you say, he has the ability to go and win games on his own with bat and ball. He's proven that in the past. He plays his best cricket when he's enjoying it, and he's full of confidence. And it certainly looks that way at the moment. The way he's taken to the 100, the way he's led his team, and I think as well. Quite happily give him a huge amount of responsibility if he gets a chance to play, because he responds extremely well to that. He's a leader within the dressing room, great personality. He drags people with him on the field, in the dressing room. So it'd be great to have him back around.
And sorry, just I know that he had a sort of a tricky tour of Australia last time around, but is there an incentive there for him to try and stake a claim for this winter as well? I
think the incentive for everyone right now is winning these Test matches. It's a huge series. Australia's it does seem quite a long way away. 4 Test matches against India. We've got to make sure we perform well here. And if you look after what's right here, right now, then of course puts everyone in a good place going into another brilliant series to look forward to.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, Dean Wilson and then Andrew Miller, and we'll take 2 questions from India. So Dean and Andrew, go ahead.
Hi, Joe. It's actually a reasonably similar one to Ali, I guess. Mo has spoken in the past about perhaps the weight of expectation, or, in a way, kind of being between a rock and a hard place. If things don't go too well, then, the blame is on him, and, the expectations on him are often, quite high. Do you kind of appreciate that viewpoint of his, and do you have a job to do, I guess, as captain to ease him through that and just, as you say, talk about him just enjoying it. But it's not always easy coming in when there's lots of discussions around you and people are talking about Jack Leach and Don Bess, and almost as if only a 5-wicket haul and a match win from Mo will do. But that obviously wouldn't be fair.
No, and I appreciate that, and I can completely understand that from his point of view. It comes from I think a lot of the time it comes from a very good place, because you know how good he can be and what he is capable of doing. I think more than anything is trying to get him in a place where he can go and enjoy his cricket, go and play with that smile on his face, be that great personality in the dressing room, on the field, and say, give him the opportunity to be a match winner without that expectation there.
And just a question on Hasib as well. I know you've touched on how much he impressed you right from the word go, but bearing in mind everything he's kind of been through since, you always talk about no player has had it smoothly. Even yourself, you got dropped at one stage. Probably no one's expecting what Hasib has gone through, but do you think that ultimately will make him a test player of some vintage, because it's just been such a difficult time for him?
Yeah, and I think more than anything, it takes a huge strength of character to be able to go through something like that and get yourself back into a position that he's in right now. I think that was one of the most impressive things about it, really, is how I mentioned his maturity and the way he handles himself. He's a great student of the game. He has a very good understanding of how he wants to go and score his runs and how he wants to play the game. And it's great to see him back in an England shirt. We could all see the potential there when he went out to India and he played those games, and it was sort of a really unfortunate way for him to finish the tour and start the following summer. I think it was very difficult. You break your finger and then you go back into a county season trying to get back into that team, if you like, or start the season well to cement that spot back down again. And it can be very tricky as a young man and at the top of the order. But I think the way he's come back from that, like you say, it's really impressive. And he's got all the attributes there. It's about trying to grasp that opportunity when it comes.
And just a final one from me. You're wearing a red for Ruth hat. Obviously, this Test match is being handed over, to that very, very worthy cause, and there'll be a red for Ruth Day again. I just wonder, just considering what's gone on with the pandemic and the situation where a lot of charities have really struggled, haven't been able to hold any events and whatnot. Would you like to see a bit more support from perhaps cricketing charities, to get the kind of exposure that a day like this gets, raises, huge sums of money from the cricket watching public and the game. And as I say, it's a very, very worthy cause. But would you like to see a bit more support maybe for some cricketing charities as well?
I as players, as mentioned, the culture of this team and where we want to take it and how we want to grow the game, beyond what we do on the field, it's a really important part of how we want to play our cricket, or how we want to be England players. And certainly, if there are any opportunities in which we can help support cricket, help support anything within the game from our platform, from our standing, then we'll certainly try and do that. Of course, it's been very tough for lots of charities, lots of people throughout this pandemic. And if there are any ways that we can help aid that, then certainly we want to throw ourselves support behind that.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Dean.
Okay, we'll take two from India to finish. Shamik Chakrabarti and then Srinjoy to finish. One each, please, Shamik and Srinjoy. Go ahead, Shamik.
Hi, Joe. Jeffrey Boycott has said the majority of England batting is crash boom wallop of white ball cricket and lacks the defensive discipline required for Test cricket. How do you react to this?
I think that in Test cricket, it's a fine margin. It's fine balance. There are, of course, you need a strong technique. You need to be able to trust your defence, but you also need to be able to apply pressure on occasions. I think sometimes if you just allow a bowler to bowl at you. And I think one thing that he did, I actually did see that article. One thing that he did say is just being able to get off strike. I think that's a really important thing, is being able to rotate the strike, get down the other end, keep the ball just rotating over. You don't need to necessarily be able to crash it to the boundary ropes once, twice and over, but it is important to get that balance between scoring and defending and managing certain passages of play. So it's certainly something that we discuss as a team, how we can do that better. And ultimately, it's about managing that out on the field, not just doing it well in practice.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the last one, Srinjoy. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
So, I mean, Ben Stokes is on a break at the moment, and we have seen in the past as well, England like to rotate players, give them much needed breaks from these bubbles. But if that harms the performance and a bulk of the pressure comes to you, now, of course, you're delivering with the bat, but every person has a threshold. So what about the captain? Like, has it ever happened to you that you wanted a break, but then you couldn't because you're the captain? How do you deal with everything?
No, I see. At the start of the year, you look at where, how the year was likely to pan out, and beforehand try and plan your breaks within that. And I missed obviously the 50 over series in India. That was an opportunity for me to have a break. I'm not in the IPL currently, so again, that's another area in which I got time at home and feel like I've managed to have those breaks and be ready for the test series that we've got and that we're likely to have coming up. So in terms of me, I feel fine. I feel ready. I feel in a good place. Obviously, feel great off the back of the scores from last week. So I'm very much looking forward to getting back out there again on Thursday.
Okay. Catch you later on. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Cheers.